Hi, welcome to season 12 of Drink It In the podcast. I am so excited. This season, I've been interviewing women from Israel. I call it Her Voice is Your Voice because I think we're all connected. There's this beautiful woman, Chaya, that I had first seen on Instagram when I was way back in New York. I don't even remember the first time I saw you in person, Chaya. I don't know if I can recall. I got so excited because your energy on the screen is one thing, but in person, your energy is that much greater. And what's making me more excited about this interview is because I don't even know so much of your background. So I think the audience is going to learn so much about you through our conversation today. So, Chaya, could you just tell us your journey and your story a little bit? Because I'm sure it's awesome and amazing.
First of all, thank you for having me on. It's such a pleasure. We met in the street and you were like, hi, and I was like, hello. and then you came and danced with me. And every time I see you out, I saw you and your husband out. And you're also such a great energy field. And I think like minds come together. So I'm just grateful that you have me on here today. But the juice, the tea, girl, the tea, sipping the tea is that I'm 50 years old. I'm living in Israel for 8 years. I made aliyah for 8 years, and I'm divorced. I have a grown-up son, and I made aliyah. It's so weird because I actually did two conversions. I did one conversion about 15 years ago in the States, and my grandmother. My grandmother was a huge Zionist. She told everybody she was from Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Jerusalem, Mississippi, but okay, whatever. Whatever works. But she told everyone, and a lot of people, believe it. And I think Jerusalem is not just it's not a physical place. It's a spiritual place. It's in your soul. So I believe that in her soul, so I grew up with Zionism, with this kind of energy field of what Israel is, but without knowing. So then I started searching, and of course, Gior, I did a Gior, and I told the rabbi at the time, like, I'm going to live in Israel one day. It's such a random thing, right? And he came rebutted with like, boring Jews don't live in Israel. That's crazy. What? And I was like, I don't know about them. I can tell you about me. And it was just strange. He was right. Like, when would I go? And then I got breast cancer. And then I took that opportunity to like recalibrate my life and to really dedicate my life to just fully embracing my spiritual aspect and my spiritual self. And here I am in Jerusalem living my grandmother's dream or whatever it was, and bringing joy, trying to bring joy into the place that I am, because I feel like wherever I am, there should be something that reflects on how happy and how blessed and how grateful I am that Hashem brought me to this place. That's the juice of it.
I love that because, I met somebody, I think it was like over the summer, and she used this phrase that was unbelievable. And I think that's what you exemplified. She used this phrase called nachshonit. And I try to use it, in my morning little thing. So what is the nachshonit? Okay, so there's this famous story when the Jews left Egypt and
Okay.
they were running away from the Egyptians, and they get to, in Hebrew called the Yam Suf, and they start complaining, and they're like, God, hello, the Egyptians are after us. We got the enemy on our backs. In front of us is this water. We're between a rock and a hard place. What are we going to do? Like, why'd you bring us here? And so this man, Nachshon ben Aminadav, he jumps into the water. And when he jumps into the water, it says that the water keeps on getting so high until it gets like up to his like nose, and then the water split. And that's when you have Kriyat Yam Suf, the splitting of the sea. And we say that because he himself, Nachshon, that's his name, Nachshon, he just jumped, he dived right in. He dived right in. So when I met this woman and she was telling me she's making aliyah this summer, and I said, you have a job? She says, no. I said, you have a whole family? Your husband has a job? No. I said, wow. She says, we're just Nachshoning it. And I'm like, boom, I love that phrase. So Chaya, you Nachshoned it.
For sure. Nachshon. I'm Nachshoned. I'm Nachshoned out.
You're Nachshoned out.
sitting in a not shown spot. I just jumped into this extra place that I'm sitting in. You know what? I don't need to know. It's the Kadosh Baruch Hu's got me. I don't need to know what. It's not my job to worry about grown people's business. He's got something going on, and I just need to move about, and I need to make some moves and not worry about what I physically can do. Because actually, in true reality, I'm doing nothing.
Right.
There's a lot working around that I can't control, that I can't see, and I just need to not shown it. So that's my new word.
Isn't it amazing? I love it. I love it. I
I
love it.
love
I
it.
love your energy. I love that you just dive
Thank
right
you.
in. I'm so envious. And I'm sure so many of the listeners are
Mm.
probably so envious also. And on the other hand, you might be saying to yourself, ha, they're envious. They don't know what was step 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're coming in for step
No,
5 and they see me jumping right in. But I've had this whole life's journey, talk about being a single mom, battling cancer, all those things are not easy feats.
divorced mom,
Yeah,
a divorcee.
yes, I've done that. I've been there, done it. So yes, I've been there, done it twice.
You on your second husband? You on your second
I'm on my third
husband?
marriage.
Oh, three. Okay, that's why you look so happy. Third time's a charm, queen.
It is.
Shut it down. Shut it down. And he's
You
a
met
very
my
nice
husband,
young man.
and you met
Yes, he's a
him.
very nice young
So
man.
yes, yes, I know. So it's
Sometimes we have to have an experience to get the experience.
oh, I love
To get
that.
the
Sometimes you have to have the
you know
experience to get the
to get
experience.
the
Yes,
experience. Yeah.
the
Sometimes
experience.
or
I love that. I
yeah.
love the higher. So now let's go back to when you were a young girl. Like I know you teach dance now. Was that something that you always had a passion for? That you said, okay,
Yeah, I wanted to be a dancer.
Did you?
I wanted to be a dancer, and I always get emotional about this. I don't know why, because we have a lot of children in our family. So my mom is my dad's second wife. My dad was a military guy,
Mm-hmm.
and his first wife, he was, well, I guess when he was younger, military, Alabama, wherever he was, and he had 2 kids, and then he went for work in the state in LA or in California, wherever, and he met my mom, and then they brought their families together. So she came with 3, he came with 2, and then they had 6 together. So we have
Wow.
11. But my mom comes from a big family. Her father was military, and my mom is a very special human being because they were a little bit more strict. Everybody kind of had their way, and their dad was like he didn't budge. My mom wanted us as kids to really find our own style, like what my sister's doing and what he's doing. What everybody's doing their own things. We kind of have our own personalities under one house. And my 2 sisters danced. My one sister played the accordion. She was like, man, my brothers were like basketball, water polo, whatever, and I was the last one, and we have a gap, and so by then my mom and dad were divorced. We had moved to Texas because my sister's husband was working for a post office. Blessed memory, he passed away now, but he got a big job to move to work at the post office, and so my mom said, okay. I was struggling in school. I always struggled in school because I needed to be in like a performance art school. I went
Mm.
behind my siblings who were like studious, like my sister's now working on her PhD. Like I went behind her. So when I went behind her, the teachers were like, you're the sister of who? And I was just my own person. And I liked arts and I wanted to be a dancer. But my mom had no money left. She was divorced and she took a little money when I got to Texas. And that's why I do have a little bit of ballet, like maybe 8 months, 6 months or something like that. And she put me in the class and my mom was driving me and she was tired. And she asked like, the teacher, like, is she going to be like the next Misty Copeland? Because my mother wanted results. She's like, I don't mind supporting my kids, but chop, chop. She was like Joe Jackson, like, get to work. And the lady was like, well, she's great. She's very big. She's very tall. Is she going to be professional? And this is the time, now ballerinas can be a little bigger, but now that's when ballerinas were small. She said, no. My mom said, okay. So she pulled me out. And my other passion was always like doing hair. I've always chosen jobs. I'm a paralegal as well. I was in paralegal school and I worked in a law office, but that wasn't my job because I got fired. They were like, they gave me a check. It's a law office. They were like, take the check and get out because they're like, you're just so happy and this is bankruptcy law and why are you here and whatever. But I've always chosen jobs that really work with people and work with the heart and soul. So I was a hairstylist. So I did the next best thing, but I always kept dance. I always danced. I always worked at it. And then when I got sick, um, I used dance as a way to get, because I had 4 surgeries. I had chemotherapy, radiation, and my hair fell out. The list goes on. But
Mm.
dance brought me back. With each surgery, I trained with the best. And actually, I got with some of the best trainers who helped me put things together. in a way to create this healing. And then I cultivated it here in Israel. So my dance movement, the Chaya dance movement, is actually completely cultivated here in Israel. I came with some tools from some of the best in the business, but I spent hours in my apartment on the beach bringing something that would uplift women. Because I know what it was like to be physically dark. You know, when you don't have your health, and a lot of people don't realize that until they're not healthy. And you know, we have this body dysmorphia, like, oh, my thighs. I don't care. Your health is so important. When I got cancer, when I like, and not even just getting cancer, because I know I really say, please, I know Hashem had to give me this to just like turn me around. But when you're sitting in there and getting chemo and you go each week, I talk about this in my comedy. I told the girl, like, hey, girl, I'll see you next week. And then next week came, I was like, where the lady that actually died? I was like, died? When you see that, you're like, okay, time to, all this, no, just no, let's be well. So that's what I did. Taking it from my childhood, and I'm the same kid. I'm the same person as a kid, but just growing up, and I'm still a kid. I identify literally as a 12-year-old bar mitzvah boy. I don't know what my pronouns would be. He, bar mitzvah. There. Okay, whatever. That's another day.
Yeah, it's so funny that we have so much in common. And I just love that. I love speaking to women and then hearing a little bit of the story and then seeing things that we connect with. I also have an older sister and I came right after her, and she was very academic. I was in the same school with her. And every time they would go through the list in high school, my maiden name was Stern. They're like, "Oh, are you related to Sheba?" And I'm like, "Yes, that's my sister." And then in 11th grade, I couldn't take it anymore. And I've been going, this is like the third year running. And it's like always the beginning of the school. So I finally just said to one rabbi, "Yes, I'm Sheba's sister, but I'm not Sheba." I just said it straight out to him. And so from then on, he never called me Jordana. He only called me not Sheba.
That's a messy rabbi.
So, and then I just happened to have just seen him a few weeks ago. And again, can you imagine? I had him when I was like 16. I'm 50 also right now. And I saw him, I was at a restaurant and I introduced him to my kids. And he's so funny. He goes, "Oh, I didn't recognize you at first." He goes, "But not Sheba."
Oh, and he remembered.
Yeah, could you imagine? So I could relate to the fact that you feel like you have to fill these shoes of your older siblings and you have to find your own path. And
Sure.
yeah, and I totally get that. And I also get the dancing. Believe it or not, that was my dream. My dream was to be a dancer. Mm-hmm.
No wonder you were dancing so good on that front row,
No,
sis.
with me and my daughter. My daughter's already better than me already. I can't even do it so much. The age has really hit me and the lack of training. But I so wanted to dance. I remember I even when I was in high school, do you remember this TV show? MTV had the first like reality dance show. What was it called?
I wait.
I
I
forgot
think
what
I
it.
know what you're talking about. Let me give me a minute to think. But I think I
Okay.
know exactly what you're talking about.
So they were having auditions in the city.
MTV Jams? No, MTV Jams? Was it MTV Jams?
No, it wasn't jams. And
Let's not think about it.
let's not think if that's going to come to us. Anyway, it was like really the first reality type of show when I was in high school. So it was when you were in high school, and they were having auditions in the city. And I cut school with my friend, went on the subway with my girlfriend, and
Okay.
I auditioned for the show.
Man, you need to really remember it.
My gosh. Well, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to Google it later. I'm sure I will find it in 2 seconds if we Google it. Don't you love Google?
Yeah,
it's like, oh my gosh. Like the kids today,
I
they have
love
it
it.
so easy. Just Google it. Like I always tell my kids, like, they're like, "Ima, I don't know what this is." So Google it. I don't know. "Ima, I have a
Mm.
paper to do." So Google it. I don't like, I sat in the
Chat
library for
GPT,
hours. My
GPT
gosh.
or whatever it's called.
Yeah, but that I really definitely related to that. So I definitely related to the dancing. I definitely related to the idea of having a sister. But it's obvious that you like to be creative. So I have a question for you. Okay, here you are. You're teaching dance. Okay, and I was in your dance class. So you're giving your dance class, and like I said, I was
Mhm.
there, so I did definitely see this. What do you do with the students that really don't know what they're doing? Like they're so off. Like, how do you handle that? Like, you go over to them, you try. Like, how do you have like they're
Look,
really not going to get it?
look, some of it is just bitachon atzmi issues, like the confidence issue.
Ah.
And I see, because I work with students, I see their transition.
Mm.
I see the transition, and I see it. I have a girl that she was in the third row. A month later, she's in the front row, right by
Mm.
me, because she wanted to be hidden, and now she's confident. And some of it's confidence. But my motto for my dance is we're all dancers. So
Mm.
dance is there. Look, I'm a little offbeat sometimes too, but I want people to feel the soul. So I think when people get that, I have one girl who literally cannot dance. Like, if you looked at her, you probably say she cannot dance. So she takes private sessions with me. But once again, her cannot dance is, she grew up a little bit dosy. She grew up really religious, and she's awkward with her body. So she can dance. She's got the body, yada 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 yada. And I talked to her like Torah style. And I said, even if we're supposed to dance to Hashem. We're supposed to move, and we're supposed to praise. When you pray, even when you daven, you have a sway. There's a movement.
Mm-hmm.
There's a soul to it. This is what it is for your body. There's a connection. So I have to bring it to her in a more,
Mm-hmm.
like, how we all should look at. We all should, live our lives. If we Jewish, we live our lives by Torah. I apply things. I can't go to class every week without Hashem's help, right? So I just help her apply that, and she's breaking out of that mold and thinking I can't. Because if you think you can't, then you won't be able to. But you got to break out of it. So that's what I do. So I go and I tell you to be in my class. I tell jokes. I tell a lot of jokes because, look, this African dance is it's one of these things where African dance is very sexualized. The
Mm-hmm.
African people have been sexualized. Our tribal dances. I'm Nigerian. I come from the Nigerian trope. I come from the Igbo people, and we have a special dance that we do for weddings. And the Nigerians, the twerk comes from us. That's why, Black Americans, because a lot of Nigerians, West Africans went that way. So we invented the twerk, and the twerk is very sexual, but it is actually comes from a tribal dance. So when people come in, it's hard to do these dances with your body that you've never done in public, because they've been sexualized, and truly they're not. They're really just tribal dances that have been sexualized. So I have a lot of work to do. I
Right.
have to unbind the mentality. So I tell jokes. I have fun. I make people feel comfortable so they can let their body be. And it's so I do have a bigger task at hand. The dance is easy. The dance itself, we can swing through it. The mentality around the dance is what we're training. We're open as, I teach on Friday mornings at 10:30, and I have some of my most, like, women that would normally be at home, holla, doing whatever, and they literally are coming on shishi at 10:30. You don't even understand. And they're coming because they're getting that push into Shabbat with joy, because
Right.
they're moving that body into this space of rest and relaxation for the next 25 hours.
Wow.
So it's all together, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it makes total sense. I don't know if you know this about me, but I used to teach tennis in the summer times. I was always a teacher. Yeah. I've been playing tennis since I'm 7 years old, and I played for my college team. And so I took advantage of the summer times. Since I was teaching, I had free time on the summer, and I would teach the local kids in my community tennis. And you're 100% right. I don't even know why I didn't even think of it until you said it. It brought it to the forefront. I'd have kids who really can't play tennis. I mean, obviously, I'm not training any Wimbledon people, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, they don't have eye-hand coordination, and I'll be like, why are they coming to take tennis lessons? And you're right. Some of the girls that I taught, it was really about self-confidence, and just the fact that after a half an hour, they actually were able to hit the ball once or twice. They felt like $1,000,000, and I would just constantly compliment them, and to see the smile on their face afterwards
Absolutely.
is priceless, is definitely priceless. So you're 100% right. And
Whoa.
yeah, and I think also, to add to what you're saying, it's also a lot of religious women. Not only are we not accustomed to connecting to our body, it's like connecting to our feminine side. And I think it's so important that a lot of women don't know how. And by dancing, we are becoming more in tune to our feminine part of ourselves. And that's really important. It's, even if you can't dance so well, but to be able to understand the movements and feel that a little bit, you don't have to feel it on the beat, but just to flow with it. That's
Yeah,
feminine.
the beat is you.
Right.
Look, the stories I hear, I can go on and on and on. I've got women I have a woman whose uterus was falling that I work with. I have a woman who she's so cute. She's French. She had her first baby, had a heart, like it was her first baby. She had herself, and the second baby, we worked together last month and a half. We were on the ball, moving, had the baby at Charlotte Cedric in the parking lot, in the hospital. He's like different, even her second, look, no labor is the same, but the movement, because we have, you need the feminine. You define feminine. I mean, we have these roles that we the man's doing this, the woman's doing this, and then we're not able to be our feminine selves. Like, how did you have a baby from your underarm? Like, how did you get pregnant? You have to move the body. I always tell my friends, I'm like, is the baby coming from your arm? Because there's no way a baby's coming out of those hips if you're not moving them, honey. You're
Right.
making it harder for yourself, because labor and delivery is this movement, flowy, magical thing. And it's the body, it just needs it. It's not a want, it's a need. It's a divine need for that body. And the other day I said, it's funny how in the arts we don't get compensated. Okay, the arts is not something that people love music, but it's not like people would rather buy a purse or this. They value different things. Like, I don't know. And that for me is the hardest thing, is like, how I have to work so hard to get a class of women to come together. That's wild. That's, to pull them away for an hour to do something magical for their body and for their soul.
Right.
This is wild for me. I work more effortlessly to get women to come and dedicate time to their neshama, to the soul.
Mm.
Because the shell is like it's just a cleat. It's nothing. What's inside is the part that we're not nurturing. We're breaking. And that's where I spend a lot of my energy doing the work. The body, the dancing, the movement that's the easy part. The soul, the feeling, the movement, that's the part that's where I have to work hard as an educator.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hi, you ready?
That's my
I,
work.
I, 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 I like to challenge myself. There's something that I shouldn't say never. I have a hard time. A hard
Okay.
time when I do my interviews. I get nervous, being honest. I get
Mhm.
nervous. And there are sometimes after the fact that I'm like, I very much wanted to ask this question, but I didn't feel comfortable and I didn't want to ask it. And then I go back, I'm like, I should have asked. And
You can ask me anything, honey.
okay, so one time I thought of that, and I'm like, I messaged the person again, and I'm like, could we go back on, hop on again a week later? And I went further and I asked some more questions, but I'm just putting it out there. Two questions that I really have in my head. I should really say three. I have three more questions for you that I really would like to touch. Not necessarily that they all anything have to do with each other, but as you're talking, it came to me. So when you first started talking about it, you said you had a son. I did not even know that you had a son. So I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about that topic of where he lives. I don't know how old
Mhm.
he is.
Yeah, of course.
What your relationship is with him, and if he's not in Israel, then how do you do that? What's going on?
It's hard. I love my son. He's a teenager. I call him a teenager. He's 26,
Okay, I get
and
that. Okay, I got you. I got it.
and it's hard. Like it's hard because I'm here and I was a baseball mom, and I was like that mom and that kid and that and I did a giyur, and then he did his own giyur when he was 14. So he's been to Israel twice. He came on Taglit, then he came again because he met some friends in Israel, and he's in his own learning, and I'm praying for him every day that he can continue to be safe and healthy and happy, because as a parent, we parent forever.
Right.
And it's hard for me because I'm not there. I'm not with him, but he's also an adult and I'm an adult. But it's been really a rough 8 years because I've also had to heal. So while I love my son dearly, I think it's actually great that we're had that time of separation, because I'm able to help him from a distance as I also heal from what I went through at a time. So he's amazing. He's really lovely. He's doing his own thing. He's got his own little family. And I'm generally more private. Like a lot of people don't know, about me unless they know me. And I mean, sit down and talk to me. And I'm usually a person to tell anybody whatever they need to know. But this idea, like on the internet, people put all that. I'm just more private.
Right.
People think I'm outgoing. I'm sharing everything, but I'm also understand. I'm 50, so I don't come from the watch me era.
Right.
Okay, I don't come from the I need to ask and I need validation. I don't come from that era, so uh, that's why people don't know so much. They were like, oh, I didn't know you did this. I'm like, because I do it, and if you see me, you'll know it. Type of deal. But yeah, that's it. He's a good guy, good
Okay.
kid.
I so get that. When I was in Israel, um, I think I went to Friday night to that synagogue in it's down by Nachlaot. And Friday night, I'm outside, just schmoozing it up with some girls. And they're like, "Oh, we follow you on Instagram." I said, "Oh, that's so nice." And I'm like waiting for my husband. And I'm like looking, I'm like, I thought everyone came out of shul. I'm like, where is he? And I said to the girls, I said, "Oh my gosh, I think I must go to the other side." Because like there are two sides. I came out like from the
Hmm.
front women's side. I'm gonna go to the side. I think my husband might be waiting for me on the other side. They said, "You got married?" I said, "Yeah." They go, "You didn't tell me." I'm like, "What?" Like, I don't even know you. Like, what do you mean I didn't tell you? I just, I don't, no one has ever seen him on Instagram. I don't talk about it on Instagram. I don't, it's like you, we're both 50. That's not us. We both have
Really?
this exuberant personality, but just
Are
because
you a
we're,
Libra too?
what?
What's your
No,
birthday?
I'm
What's
a,
your birthday?
I'm a Capricorn. People always say there's no way
Yeah,
you're a Capricorn, right?
yeah,
I once
interesting.
Very interesting. I once did. I'm very into that birthing stuff, the birthing chart. I once
Yeah.
did this. I met with this rabbi. His name is Rabbi Miller. He's awesome. I had a whole session with him. I gave him my whole birthing stuff, and we did it in person. I even recorded the whole session. And he said, "I'm so glad I met you in person." He said, "Because if I wouldn't have seen you, I wouldn't have believed it." He said, "You're like an extrovert, but everything on your chart says introvert." He said, like the
Mm.
craziest thing. He said I had like this perfect triangle of air. Every point of my triangle is air, air, air. He says, "You're just flowing. You're just a
I
thinker.
see that.
You're
I see
just
that.
creative." He said, "You have Capricorn character traits where you're probably like super organized," he said, "and you like to be on time and you like to take
Mm-hmm.
care of things." He goes, "That's your Capricorn groundedness, but
Mm.
you're not a Capricorn," he said. It
You're
was
more
very
like an air.
Right, I'm just
I
flowy
can see
air.
that.
Yes, it was very interesting. I loved it. I just love that stuff. But
I love that.
right? Yeah, it was. Yeah, but I just love that the same idea. Like people just don't know. Okay, so here comes question number two. You ready? Card question number two. Okay, you did that first one well. So okay, it's giving me courage and guts to ask the second one. Okay, the
Yeah.
second one. Okay, this is based off of you ready? And again, um, I had a colleague of mine tell me this amazing story about Denzel Washington. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he had a friend that was in Hollywood. He had a religious Jewish
Okay.
friend that was in Hollywood that had a meeting with Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And his friend said he's sitting with Denzel Washington, and Denzel's like just staring at him and staring at him. And he started getting very uncomfortable because he doesn't understand why is this guy that he respects keep on staring at him, specifically staring at his kippah, at his yarmulke. And he's like, what is his problem? Like, and then he just kept it into himself. And then finally at the end of the meeting, Denzel Washington says to his friend, this religious Jew, "I can't believe that you wore that throughout the whole meeting." He's like, "What?" Oh, okay. He said, "I have so much respect for you." He says, "My whole life, my skin color is something that bothered me, and I can't do anything about it. And there were times in my life where as a young child, because I've now come to appreciate it, but as a young child, I would have done anything to be able to come out of my own skin color. And you
Mm.
have the option to take that kippah off, and no one would know if you're Jewish or not. But yet you
Mm.
keep it on all the time, and you're proud of it." He says, "I have all the respects for you." So I'm coming
Mm.
to you now, Chaya, with your life situation. I know you post sometimes about this sometimes. You're Jewish and you're a proud Black woman. How is that
Mm.
for you?
Well, it's really interesting because you have all these, thank you for asking, you have all these crazy intersections, right?
Right.
Because we have to, me and my friends talk about this all the time. Being Jewish and brown in Israel is different from being Jewish and brown in the U.S. Okay,
Okay, so let's hear it. Let me hear it.
and it's different. Why? Because here, Jewish is Israeli. Everybody's Jewish. I mean, not everybody, obviously,
But you know,
but the Jews are coming from every corner, every place, every world. And so, if I walk into Chabad, maybe somebody may think, I wonder her story or this, but really no one's going to ask me, okay? If I'm going to a Bacon Nesting in the States, I'm going to get 5 questions from here to the door
mm,
before I even have a seat. So there's an intersection of culture and color and connection and nationhood within me. And I'm just, I grew up with 2 Black parents in the United States, but my parents were definitely well traveled. Our Blackness, my Blackness doesn't define me. Just like being a woman, being a Jew doesn't define me. My relationship with Hashem defines me, as far as I'm concerned. So these things are just things that are pieces to a puzzle. And so, you know, I have these cultural norms that come from everywhere and then wrapped into this other cultural norm. And so I know I'm saying a lot of that. It's hard to explain it, but the Black part of me is so irrelevant. And I know some people say, what did she say? What? Because people don't understand, my culture. And me and my Black friends argue. I was like, right now, our biggest argument is about Kamala Harris being Black. Now, I have a different, I'm like, she have a whole Indian mama, like her father's Jamaican, and her being put into the Black category, okay, because she does have this African father, whatever. But also, is it how I feel different from me being in Black category with 2 Black American parents in my mind? So it's a big whole debate. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it's only a piece of the puzzle. It doesn't define you. So when I say, oh, I'm going to debate for the first Black woman, like that's sexist and racist right in one thing. That's why you vote for somebody based on these small pieces of the puzzle.
right.
And so that's how I feel about Judaism. And I will say that living in Israel, I know if someone doesn't like me, they don't like me because they don't like me.
Mm,
Not because
beautiful.
they don't like something about my skin or because this. Because I'm like a Jew like everybody else. So now you got to dislike me based on the merit of everything in a circle because we're all Jews in the same spot. And so that's how I feel about being Black and Jewish. And I always call it Black and Jewish. It's so silly. I'm Jewish and I'm Black. I mean, what can I do? Just like somebody that's Jewish and they're Russian, or somebody that's Jewish and Ethiopian, or Jewish and Iraqi, that experience. But I come with an extra experience because I did Gior and I did 2 of them. And, I have so many levels and layers. I'm so really grateful to Hashem because I'm a complex person because of it. I'm built up complex, like a lasagna. You take a fork and you go like, kaha, but there's layers and levels to it. You can peel the cheese back, but they're all together. There's not like, you can take the meat sauce, you can take one onion out, but just take the fork, bite it. That's how I feel. And I love it. I love it. I love that, I grew up the way I grew up. And I grew up, which by the way, my mother is, I grew up Jehovah's Witness.
Mm,
My mother was Jehovah's Witness only for child 8 and 9. Before her father was Methodist and her mother was Catholic. Her dad was African AME because he's from the North. He's from like, I guess I would say Baltimore, Maryland.
mm-hmm.
And, but my mother is I'm so grateful. Like I wake up and do Shahari. I saw my mother waking up. The Jehovah's Witnesses, I call it everybody is inspired by the Jews and be mad, stay mad. It's so much of what my mother and she texts me and she sends me scriptures and we talk and you know I'm so grateful for that because I have that basis. So people see me and they think, oh, like I'm a California girl and I'm like more of a naked person. I like bikinis. I grew up in California. I don't have clothes or not, but I also grew up wearing stockings, wool jackets, very, very Of course. Did a picture on my thing. People like, my mother used to dress me like a doll. Did like this long sleeve with stockings and slip. That's how we dress. That's how my mother, she's a classy lady. So when I go to a Beit Knesset, it's not even about I'm going to Chabad or I'm going to Beit Knesset. I am respecting myself. I'm respecting my creator. This is how I feel. I mean, people are like, oh, you're Datia. I'm like, I don't know about the label. I know that when I'm going to pray, I pull my hair up. I like to pull my hair because I don't like to come down. I want to pray. I want to really be centered. And I really, really appreciate my mother because now when I'm 50, I didn't realize how important and those pieces that she put, those tools that she put in me that make it easy for me to do shachrit. I just go pray. It makes it easy to do like today I just did my min before because I got to go teach a class in Tel Aviv in a bit. So those are the things that are put into me. And then the blackness is extra. But my mother also, because they had colorism in their family. My mother, we have like one of my brothers, my pastor, blessed memory, his eyes are like gray, green. My other brother's eyes are hazel. And in our family, we have a lot of different colors. But in her family, there's colorism. So the darker girls sometimes are sleeping on the floor. The lighter skin, that goes back to something that, something deeper we can go into. So my mother really, really she almost wanted us not to see, like, don't make it about your color. So when people like, I make jokes about, I'm this black girl, this black girl, that's very new. I have friends. Maybe I have an Asian friend there, but I don't go out like, oh, I have an Asian friend because I need an Asian friend. Oh, I have a white friend because I have friends who vibe on my same level. And then they just might be happen to be white, which is rare. Because the white girls, they be like, mm-mm. They just be like, mm-mm. I'm like, girl, you need to put some season on your food. Put some season on your food, Becky. And that's real talk. I mean, I don't know. I got one conversation. It's called real talk. But but I love my friends, and because of that, my friends are like the United Nations of friends. Because I'm just being with people who want to feel good, and if you feel good, I rock with you. So this is only an extra tool. This is only an extra thing. But I must say this: all this, I'm black girl and stuff. I didn't used to talk like this. This is very relatively new because I do comedy and I make fun and I make fun of what other people see.
Okay.
That's not my hang up. I make fun of what they see. And so this is that whole,
I hear
because
that.
people literally, there are Black Americans that literally, they have things called Black Girl Travel, that they look for a place to go where they think people are nicer to Black people. Like, just go travel, bro. Like, just go travel. If you let that go, and I know that we're from a very like, America's a very place that they do, it's like microaggressions and whatever the microaggressions. So you always wonder, but that's why I love Israel, because Israel, if you know how they feel, you know where they stand. But we also have to let go of how we feel about what people feel about us, and that's
Correct.
part of that thing. So yeah, I'm a sister, but but I like Ashkenazi men. I like that bagel and lox man. French.
I loved everything you
I
said.
like a little French bagel and lox, little croissant.
Like, no, even within the jokes though, Chai, I really do appreciate the sincerity and the realness that you're sharing. And I love that and my favorite part is that you could obviously that Israel's home. And when a person's at home, they're very comfortable in whatever their skin is. And I mean that literally and figuratively, obviously. And I just love that, and that's the beauty, and that's what's so odd when we see all over social media that apartheid and because Israel's the most accepting place I know, and it is so beautiful. I know you're going to get upset, but I want to go one more question because I know you spoke about your mom, and I loved that, and you could see that you really gained a lot from her. But it's talking about how you've done two conversions. Who has been your I guess your spiritual mentor, your spiritual guide throughout everything?
So the first person, the first rabbi that converted me, Rabbi Schneider, who it is really a genius because he grew up like a Orthodox, I say modern Orthodox, and he really wanted to do outreach and he really, really, it took me 4 years to convert from door to mikvah. And he really, really put the way I speak today is because of him, because he's talking about being matter of fact, he wrote it in a book. Being Jewish is an action. You got to do Jewish. It's the brachot, how we eat, how we move, how we vibe is action. And he's one of the groundworks. Then another rabbi came behind, Rabbi Paley, amazing. He's a reform rabbi, like literally. He also was raised conservative, but he just has the thought process. And then now I have three rabbis. I have one rabbi from Judea Samaria. His name is Rabbi Zamir. I have Rabbi Constantine. He's a New Yorker. He's at Frischman in he's Hashem has really put rabbis that can really bring out my soul so that I can pour it into what I need to do. Because to become Jewish, like, like it's really something. I'm the closest thing to Avram and Sarah that most people are going to see. And that's why I know that people are so intrigued with people that do Gira, because Avraham and Sarah are the original. They left their homes. They did exactly what I did. That's why I love that my name is Chayabat Avraham and Sarah, because I did exactly what, they did. I left everything I knew. Chas v'chalila, something, my mom, I can't sit shiva for my physical parents. I cannot. I physically cannot. And so it's a really unique thing. And you have to have really good rabbis and really good leaders to lead someone like me, because my soul is just so fiery from Hashem. Like, he just did so much work to get me here. And so there have been a lot of leaders that have wanted to lead me. It didn't work. Hashem didn't put me with them, but the ones I have, and also Chabad. I like Chabad. I was going to Chabad in Dallas, and I love it, and I'm Chabad here, and that's where I tend to go. Even though I'm not a Chabadnik, because I don't do Chabad, but I'm Chabad. I'm Chabad, but not Chabad.
Right. Chabad at
Because
heart.
I'm not peeling my tomatoes for Pesach.
Right.
Forget it. And I want to eat the matzah brie. Chabad, they don't be wetting their matzah. I don't know.
So did you pick your own name when you converted?
I picked my name, and let me tell you why. My name is Chaya because it's 18. I'm my mom's 9th child, and I was born on the 18th.
Wow.
And it felt like life, and I felt like my life became life from the moment I stepped out of the mikvah. And Ashira, as in wealthy, with it's an iron olive. I always get it mixed up, but it's the wealth, because there's a shear with a shear, like a song, and
Right.
there's a shear as in wealth, not as in wealth, but not as in wealth as in money, but wealth as an experience. And I became this wealthy person, and trust me, I've evolved. I mean, like, I've evolved, but little by little. And then I did my second conversion to the point where the rabbinu, they didn't even ask me to change my name. They said, "You're Chaya." I said, "Out of here, Rabbi." I know. It wasn't even a question. "You're Chaya, that's it. What are you going to give me? Change my name? What is this?" And they felt that was the right place, and that's what that spoke for me, and that's it. So what a blessing to be able to choose something the most important thing in my life,
Right.
to be able to choose it.
Choose.
The biggest part of my puzzle is my life, and I'm really, every day I'm super grateful for Hashem for choosing me to be chosen. Like, I was chosen to be chosen. Like, I had to, and for giving me the not only for choosing me, but actually giving me the light to actually listen. Because a lot of times we get these messages and we don't listen. But for me to listen and be like, this is where I feel. And my brother he's like, this is like literally who you are. He's like, telling me, because he went to USC, so all of his friends in film school, he's like, yeah, my sister's Jewish, and all his friends are Jewish. And then they're like, he's like, she's literally been a Jew since she was little. And now she's like, and he actually says, you made yourself sick. He said, your body made yourself sick so you can make aliyah. He said, because cancer doesn't run in your family. It was a fluke, and your body made itself sick, and look at where you are. And I was like, oh, that's a different way to think of it.
Right. Wow.
Whatever, Lo Nora, I'm here.
So beautiful. I really want to thank you, because I think everyone who's going to listen to this, Chaya, is really going to see your essence and your beauty.
Oh.
Really see that your name is really, that we say, is the mehut. It's the essence of who you are, and the inspiration, like you said, and especially in this time of year, that you saw the light, you heard the calling, and you nachshoned it.
Hallelujah. Next show.
So, so thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say before we say goodbye to each other? And until next time, I should say.
Until next time. You're coming back. You're coming back home, right? Soon.
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best, girl.
Girl, come on.
Okay.
I just want to thank you. I really want to thank you for just having me on today and for just seeing me for who I am, because I've never in my life really had to prove myself, and I don't want to, and I will never start. I just do me. I'm the same person wherever I go. And it's really wonderful to see people that just see me for who I am, that just want to take the vibe and want to catch the vibe. By the way, the other night I went to this concert, this guy, his name is Hillel, and he had a song, and it was called Just Go Share Shame. Just go share shame. Just go share. And I'm telling you, this dude had a Strymel, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. I said, I think I got Jerusalem Kendra. I'm going to send you the page after. You're not going to believe it. He was rocking, and I'm gonna tell you something. I saw him for who he was. He just was energy, and it came to me like, no matter how crazy it looked, he had these glasses on. He was kind of like Jewish Stevie Wonder. It was just so many things happening, and it was all magical, and it was all amazing, and people were catching the vibe, and I was like, that's what I hope people get from me. That they like, she crazy. She gonna say some silly stuff. She gonna say some stuff that you can't put on the internet. And I appreciate you for catching the vibe. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem, and I hope everybody who listens catches the vibe as well. Chaya, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jordana, for having me. What a blessing.